There's a decision I made recently where I had a strong internal feel for what to do, but instead of either following it blindly or overriding it with data, I did both and let them work together. That's actually a less talked about version of good decision making because most content treats intuition and strategy or logic as if you have to choose one over the other. Maybe you had a strong internal feel for something and talked yourself out of it because it wasn't backed up by a spreadsheet or other external evidence. Or maybe you've gone the other way and acted purely on gut feeling and skipped analysis that would have actually served you well. Neither of those positions means that you're bad at making decisions. It usually just means that you're only using half of the capabilities available to you. And I bring this up for two reasons. Firstly, because we operate in an online space that likes to position solutions as either or. You either run an intuitive business or you follow the data when actually both have a place. And secondly, I bring this up because of our conditioning throughout education and traditional employment to place a higher value on strategy and logic, which leads many of us to suppress very useful decision-making cues. Hi there, I'm Linden. This channel is about entrepreneurial leadership for women in online business. And today's video is about what it looks like when both halves of your judgment work together instead of competing. So let's get into it. So here's the thing. Integration isn't intuition winning and it isn't strategy winning. It's your intuition supplying the signal and strategic discernment testing and shaping that signal without either one overriding the other. I had this recently with a pricing decision. My initial sense was clear. I knew what felt right to me, but instead of just going with that or ignoring it and only looking at formula, for example, I let the feeling stand and then I tested it. Does it hold up against what I actually know about the market, about the position of the offer, and about the value it provides? That's the integration of both intuition and strategy without one overruling the other. And that's one of the ways to think about integration in business. When that doesn't happen, here's what it costs commercially. Decisions that are only intuitive can be shaky depending how experienced you are at listening to your intuition and trusting it, because there's nothing underneath when things get uncomfortable or you're questioned that you can point to evidentially. And conversely, decisions that are only analysed tend to be flow because you end up waiting for a certainty that data alone never gives you. And it very possibly feels hollow because you know there's something missing that would enable you to trust it more wholeheartedly. And either way, you wind up in the same place with an inconsistency of feeling, of action, and perhaps of business overall, not because your judgment's lacking, but because you're only running half of it at a time. So running a more integrated approach does just what it sounds like. It allows you to access the benefit of both approaches, take the best from each, and mitigate potential limitations of each. Maybe you naturally lean more one way than the other. That's fine. Most of us do. But the pull to one side stops making decisions wobblier because the other one's always there as a counterbalance now. And you can feel it in how a decision sits with you afterwards. It's more solid, it's easier to stick to, and there's no nagging doubt underneath it. The sort of doubt that shows up when you've either ignored what you felt or ignored what you knew. You made the call from all of you, not from half of you, and that's a different thing to take forward in your business. So the key shift that I would leave you with is this. You don't need to choose between your inner knowing and what you think. Business ownership asks you to bring both into one act of leadership, and integration is just what happens when you let it. So something to sit with this week. Take a decision that's currently in front of you. What is your intuition telling you about it? And separately, what would strategic discernment add if you let it? Have you actually let both sides speak, or has one been drowning out the other? Next week, I want us to look at what this kind of leadership actually looks like at a collective level, not just individually. And I would love you to join me for that because entrepreneurship plays a specific role in a bigger picture that's much better for the planet and humanity than we can currently observe. And what you're doing is so needed as part of that. Meantime, if you want to build integration deliberately rather than wrestling with it decision by decision, recalibrate your 30-day practice of confident decision making is what I'd point you towards first, because you can develop your decision making and self-trust from this perspective in a structured way. And I created the program for women who know their business and know that more strategy isn't what they need right now. And the link to find out more is in the description. If you find my videos a useful way of thinking about your business, subscribing means that the next one is more likely to show up in your feed so that you won't miss it. And I would love to see you there. A like on your way out helps my channel and helps other business owners find this video too. And please do leave me any questions or comments that you have. Speak soon. Bye for now.